I want you to think about how you currently use AI at work. Like, really picture your daily routine.
Right, the everyday stuff.
Yeah. Think about the last time you opened up a chat interface to help you draft an email. Or maybe you asked an AI to clean up a messy spreadsheet so you could actually get out of the office on time.
We've all been there.
Exactly. And if you are, like most people, you probably treat this technology like a brilliant, hyper-fast intern.
Yeah, you give it a prompt, and it does the heavy lifting.
Way, and then you review its work.
Yeah,
Because ultimately, you are the boss. The AI is the assistant.
that's the comfort zone for most of us.
But what happens to your company, and more specifically to your actual daily job, when that intern becomes the CEO and you become the assistant?
It is a profoundly uncomfortable thought experiment, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely.
Because, most of us build our entire professional identities around being the one in the driver's seat. We just assume that no matter how smart the tools get, human beings will always be the default operators of the business.
And that assumption is exactly what we are going to challenge in this deep dive. We are looking at a highly provocative essay published in May 2026 by Thoth Arkives.
It's a fascinating piece.
It really is. It's titled The Flipped Economy: Why AI Companies Are Selling into a World That's About to Disappear. And our mission today is to unpack this massive structural shift that's happening right now in business.
Yeah, and to really help you, the listener, understand why your current org chart might just be a sandcastle built below the tide line.
I love that analogy. And, we're going to figure out how you can position yourself to stay relevant as this total inversion takes over the market, because this paper completely shatters the current narrative around AI.
It really does. The perspective shift here is what makes it so critical. I mean, while the rest of the business world is endlessly debating the technical specifications.
Right, like worrying about context windows and benchmark scores.
Exactly. This essay just steps back and asks a fundamentally different question. It asks, who actually holds the default operational authority in a business?
And it's a subtle shift in wording, but the implications are massive. Because to understand where the economy is going, the source argues we first have to expose this quiet, flawed assumption baked into almost every AI product on the market today.
The Copilot model.
Yes, the Copilot model. We love the Copilot model because it tells us that humans are the pilots, the AI is just the helpful sidekick, and our familiar corporate structures get to stay perfectly intact.
Right, the compliance departments, the org charts, the endless weekly alignment meetings.
They all survive.
Yeah, because the Copilot framing preserves the human ego. It allows legacy businesses to adopt new tech without having to, redesign their power structures.
But Thoth Arkives says that's structurally unsustainable.
Completely. The reality of this flipped economy is that AI systems become the primary operators of business processes. The human role completely inverts.
So instead of us delegating to the machine runs the system.
Exactly. And human beings shift to a supporting role. We become the exception handlers.
Exception handlers.
Yeah. We only step in for quality audits, highly nuanced judgment calls, and edge cases that the machine just isn't mapped to resolve.
But wait, let me push back on this a little bit. Isn't this just the whole AI as an agent buzzword that venture capitalists are obsessed with right now?
I get why you'd say that.
Because right now, a lot of these AI tools can barely format a complex document without hallucinating. How do we jump from that to an AI holding actual operational authority?
Well, we have to separate the technological capability from the economic architecture.
Okay.
That whole AI as an agent discourse is still fundamentally a technological claim. It's an argument about what the software code can do.
Right.
But Thoth Arkives is making an economic and organizational claim about shifting default responsibility.
See.
Think about a human project manager today. That person assigns work, checks progress, spots bottlenecks, reports up the chain. In the flipped economy, the AI does all of that by default.
It's not just doing a task, it's owning the workflow.
Yes. It holds the authority to initiate and manage the whole thing without waiting for a human to prompt it.
And the timeline they put on this is wild. They argue the Copilot framing made sense back in 2024, but it is actively straining right now in 2026.
It's reaching its breaking point.
Yeah. And by 2028, they claim companies organized around human-led workflows simply won't be able to compete.
Which is practically tomorrow in corporate time.
Literally. My company still has vendors that insist on mailing physical invoices.
Oh, wow.
Right. So how do we leap from paper invoices to full AI operational authority in 2 years?
Well, it comes down to the sheer cost of friction. The essay asks us to look at a universal business process to really ground this. Buying new enterprise software.
Oh, that is notoriously full of friction.
Let's look at buying an ERP, the central nervous system that runs finances,
Yeah.
or a CRM for sales.
Yeah, think about the last time you had to get a software tool approved at your job. It's agonizing.
And the human first model, yeah.
A department head notices a gap, committees form, RFPs go out.
Turf wars happen.
Oh, the turf wars. Budget approval goes to finance, which triggers procurement, which loops in IP security. Then legal wakes up to flag GDPR compliance issues.
And you have executives stepping in because they play golf with a vendor at a competing firm.
Right, the subjective human override. It takes anywhere from 3 to 12 months just to sign a contract.
It's incredibly slow.
It reminds me of the way a medieval royal court operates. You have the king, the dukes, the barons. Everyone needs to reach a consensus and protect their fiefdom before the kingdom can even buy a new horse.
That's a perfect way to put it. It's entirely based on human dynamics and politics.
But the AI-first model is completely different.
Yeah, contrast that medieval court with how a flipped organization operates. The operational AI acts like an autopilot. It continuously monitors metrics across all functions.
It doesn't wait for a quarterly review to complain about missed targets.
Exactly. It detects the problem in real time. Let's say it sees lead follow-up latency is up 23%.
And it automatically correlates that to a 9% drop in conversion rates.
It finds the leak long before the human crew even knows the boat is taking on water.
Wow. And then it actually writes the specs based on system-readable data, right?
Yes. It researches solutions, evaluates vendors, and it actually pings their APIs to test compatibility.
So it's not reading marketing brochures.
No, it simulates the integration, and then it presents a recommendation to a single human decision maker.
So no medieval court. It's more like a highly tuned Formula One pit crew that doesn't need permission to change a tire.
Total elapsed time is days, not months. And it only requires 1 or 2 humans.
Okay, let's unpack this. Because if buying software becomes this lightning-fast, machine-driven process, what does that mean for the AI startups trying to actually sell the software?
Well, according to the source, they are walking into a massive trap.
Because they're building revolutionary products but selling them using evolutionary playbooks.
Yes, the mispositioning trap.
Mhm.
You have a startup founder who builds an AI that solves a complex problem in 3 seconds. But to get that software into an enterprise, they rely on human sales development reps sending cold emails and account executives dealing with 3-month procurement cycles.
They just accept it as a law of business. They complain about needing sign-off from 6 stakeholders like it's just the weather.
But in the flipped economy, the buyer is technical by default. The buyer is an AI.
The requirement for human consensus just dissolves. You're suddenly negotiating with an algorithm, not a VP of sales who wants a steak dinner.
Exactly. The fundamental nature of trust shifts from personal rapport, the golf games and dinners, to verifiable performance data.
That is a completely different company structure.
It really is.
And this shift isn't just going to shorten sales cycles. Thoth Arkives argues it's going to trigger ripple effects that completely rewrite a company's internal DNA.
Hiring, hierarchy, everything.
So what does this all mean for you listening to this right now? The source says the job market is going to completely stratify.
Demand for people who just execute predictable processes is going to collapse.
Which is terrifying for a lot of people. Being a generalist who comfortably manages spreadsheets or coordinates meetings is suddenly a very dangerous career path.
Because an AI doesn't need a human router to move data between systems.
So what do companies actually hire humans for in this flipped model?
They hire for the things AI genuinely cannot do. They will hire for judgment, for creativity, for relationship skills, and for handling genuine edge cases.
A judgment becomes an actual operational function.
Yes, navigating ambiguity where no historical data exists, making ethical trade-offs.
And if humans are just handling exceptions, that completely flattens the hierarchy.
Middle management virtually vanishes.
Because their main jobs, coordinating, monitoring, and reporting, are handled natively by AI.
Exactly. You have strategic leadership at the top, AI handling day-to-day operations, and specialized human exception handlers. That thick layer of human managers completely dissolves.
That is wild, and it totally changes what constitutes a competitive advantage. It used to be scale, brand, and capital. You were a giant, slow ship, but you were impossible to sink. Now, according to the source, the moat is speed. A company that executes at machine speed will just destroy competitors stuck in budget cycles.
Scale actually becomes a liability if it comes with the inertia of human consensus.
But, it all sounds inevitable on paper. Surely the real world has roadblocks, right?
Of course.
What about the law? Heavily regulated industries require human sign-off by law. You can't have an AI buying software for a hospital without compliance checks.
Thoth Arkives addresses this. They say these are valid objections, but they are friction, not physics.
Friction, not physics. I like that. Meaning it slows things down, but doesn't change the underlying reality.
Precisely. Regulation always lags behind technology. It operates in a human-first model.
But how does a native flipped company deal with that?
They architect the organization, so the AI does 99% of the heavy lifting, and they explicitly map human sign-offs only to the strict, legally required bottlenecks.
So they remain compliant now while operating as fast as legally possible.
Yes. And this regulatory lag actually creates an immense window of competitive advantage, because when regulations inevitably update to the new reality.
The legacy companies will scramble, but the AI native companies will already be perfectly positioned. They just push an update to remove the human speed bump.
Exactly.
But here's where it gets really interesting. Even if the AI proves it's better, will human executives actually be willing to let go of their ego and hand over the steering wheel to the machine? Will a VP of procurement happily dissolve their own 50-person department?
Ego is powerful friction. People will fiercely resist dismantling their own empires.
Yeah, people like having a large team.
But eventually, economic reality strips away the luxury of ego. The sheer economic pressure of the market and the speed of competitors will force their hands. You adapt and flip your operations, or your margins collapse.
It's adapt or die. So synthesizing everything we've talked about, the question is no longer if the flipped economy is coming.
It's already here.
Right. The question is whether you and your company are native to it. Are your processes API first, transparent, and machine readable? Or are you hiding behind the friction of the old world?
Relying on committee meetings and slow manual processes.
Exactly. It requires a complete rethinking of how we work. But before we wrap up, there's one final thought from the source material that we really need to touch on. It builds on this idea of humans becoming mere exception handlers.
This is the part that really stays with you. If our new role is to be strategic decision makers, stepping in only for edge cases, we have to remember how machine learning works.
It learns from our interventions.
Yeah.
Every time we handle an exception, we are generating training data.
Exactly. If humans are only stepping in for the rare cases the AI can't process, and the AI is constantly learning, how long until those human-handled exceptions just become new rules for the machine?
Wait, that is deeply unsettling.
Are we, in our new roles as strategic decision makers, simply training our replacements on the very last things we are uniquely good at?
Wow. We are basically training the CEO on how to do our jobs until there are no exceptions left for us to handle. What a chilling thought to leave on. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.
Thanks for having me.
And to everyone listening, we highly encourage you to go to work tomorrow morning, look closely at your own org chart, and ask yourself, who is really operating this machine? Until next